So welcome, I am Couch Cooper and you have found YouTube's best couch co-op and split screen channel. It's the new list, good god. Bit of a journey on this one because of course it is cross-platform. It's my first cross-platform split screen and couch co-op video to come out on the channel, so it's a major flagship moment. Is that milestone? And so let's talk about what we're looking at. We're looking at Huntdown. Not Hunt Showdown, Huntdown, which is a side-scrolling 16 to 8-bit, beautiful little homage to the cyberpunk genre, 2-player, very strong. This slot had a lot of games that could have gone in it. This one won it because kind of new. I want to keep from repeats. As you know, this is kind of the third video in the series, so this one's nice and fresh, and it's still going really strong, and it does have some PlayStation 5 enhancements, but available on most platforms. Project Starship X is next up. There's kind of 11 games in this list, so major spoilers there. We've got an extra one at the end. This one is a strange one for me because I'm a big fan of shoot 'em ups, especially top down and side scrolling. This offers kind of the best of both worlds. What I mean is it keeps switching everything out. It's kind of a roguelike and it's so loud and colourful. Available on loads of platforms as well. It really works as a kind of snappy pick up and play retro. You've got a dash on the square button and the game re-rolls everything. Nothing is ever repeated and the bosses are batshit. It's a real stunner, this one, and it's very recent as well. Hence I've avoided any of the older games. There is a link in the description for my top local shoot 'em up list. It is quite accessible for all family, and if you're an adult and you want to chill with this on your own, there's so much content to have there. But again, you can just pick up and play that cool sort of versus, save each other and experience that crazy noise. Sticking with the roguelike and indie genre, of course we've got Fury Unleashed. Interesting one this. We've got a lot of different people playing a lot of different games with me on this list. I had to get like guests round and keep footage. The whole thing's taken me about 5.5 weeks. The person that played this with me totally enjoyed it, and I was really impressed at how quickly they got their head around it. It is kind of dead salesy and it does have that Die Hard feel, and again we do have two roguelikes together and indie games together, but I want to get them both out of the way. Totally cool this. Also a flawless 2-player experience as well, with all of that loot, RPG, on the fly upgrades. Fury Unleashed is kind of a cheeky bit of a repeat. It was in the previous list and it did feature really high. It was kind of in the top echelons because of its freshness, its cheapness, and its look and feel and what it's trying to do with that 2-player concept on a platform level, especially with that 360-degree firing arc. The whole thing feels really free. It would have normally be a game like Enter the Gungeon that would have got this slot, so I wanted to keep it as fresh and modern as possible. Over to Dirt 5 now on the PlayStation 5, and of course the driving slot was a real tough one. I've had some absolutely stunning games on these lists, including Horizon Turbo Chase and of course Hot Shot Racers, but it's time for Dirt 5 to shine. We just had an update, literally it's like 1.6 or something. This game is really lackluster when it comes to unlocks with the online, but they're kind of trying to pump some more stuff in here. It's a bit cheeky with saying there's loads of content over here if you give us some money, but as an out and out split screen game to come out on the new gen systems, it's a stunner. It's on Game Pass as well, it's 4K, it's 30 frames per second. Dirt 5 is a no-brainer when it comes to split screen racing. One of its really unique selling points is the fact that the whole campaign, achievements and in-game unlockables are available to play on a couch co-op level and sort of semi-verses, so that content is really awesome to enjoy. Because I don't want this list to be a day long, I've only got one racer in that slot, so go over to the link in the description. I've done quite a recent new local co-op racer video with stuff like grip on it. There's some real gems out there. Moving on up and moving on out, we've got Earth Defense Force. A little bit of an embarrassing declaration to make here. When I got back from the hack, I jumped onto my machine to make a new PlayStation 5 video and it actually included the wrong Earth Defense Force game on there. Let's just turn a blind eye to that. It's only got 1,000 views. I reckon the comments will probably notice it soon. But this is the most recent, and yes, we do have PlayStation 5 enhancement. It's a stunning game. EDF's got a brilliant legacy. It's so enjoyable, this, and fun to the hilt. Loads of homages paid. You've got convinced this is a Terminator 1 homage. It's always been a solid split screen series. It's always been there for us, even like back in the early 2000s. But this one's got a nice lick of paint and polish. I reviewed it on the PlayStation 4 Pro and it impressed me back then. But I think it's a boosted frame rate. The resolution's still a bit crazy, but it's smooth. And this is probably the game that attempts the most amount of action on screen at the same time for a third-person couch co-op game. Again, narrow window, but it's a stunning engine that this game runs in. Kind of famous for its chaos and its crazy giant enemy sprites, be it the ants or be it those robots. Buildings collapse quite literally under your feet and you never stop communicating with just what is happening on your screen, let alone what's happening on their screen. A real winner this. Kind of should be a bit higher, but it's competing with some industry mammoths. Earth Defense Force. Don't fall behind, yeah, you can kind of set your watch to me having this game on a couch co-op list. This is another repeat, slightly lower as well, but it is the wonderful 101 from the amazing Platinum Games, and it is everything anyone could ever want in a two-player video game. Let's just say that. It's got crumbs of Okami in there with its combat system and using that freehand stick to actually draw your weapon. It's got little elements of a game called Beautiful Joe with some of those dodge mechanics which have bled out into Platinum's entire series. So it's a lot of heritage and game type playstyles that are embedded in here that are quite important. And of course it came out on the Wii U, no one got to play it. It's everywhere now, and I think, don't quote me, but I think I might see some PlayStation 5 improvements here. It also caters for up to 4 people, and I am, slap my wrist, guilty of not actually reviewing this on a 4-player level. Some of the performance is very different on each platform. The Switch kind of struggles with it. I want to test it with 4 people on a PlayStation 4 to be fair, see if there's any 5 improvement there. But this one is kind of a legend in the industry and on my channel, the wonderful 101, staple for any couch co-opper. Yeah, I did say cross-platform at the beginning, and this is the first Xbox only, sort of Game Pass only game on the list, and that's why it's quite high up, because it was not a bad attempt at making an incredibly detailed and really cool looking twin stick shooter based in the cyberpunk universe and having some cool future weaponry, also like Borderlands switch out armor and weapon type. There's a lot of detail here and loads of love went into the appearance of the game. One thing to watch out for though is we just had a very strange patch come in that made me have to adjust all of my sliders again on the graphics front. Kind of wound me up, and it's not without its technical issues. But it's the kind of game I want to be playing nowadays. A really technically beautiful ray tracing, dissipation, graphics engine laid down on a tried and tested twin stick formula with a sprinkling of that fresh RPG sort of loot addictiveness that we see in a lot of modern games. It's nailed all of that, and it's managed to nail it with someone else on board as well on a local co-op level. Up here with the big boys is very new. Not a lot of new couch co-op split screen IPs can boast that, so this one gets a massive green tick. Somebody's at the door. Streets of Rage 4, it's the best beat 'em up you ever saw. Fierce competition in this slot, we'll get to that in a minute. Just want to check that the skins on the R buttons, I'm pretty sure that wasn't there the other month, but then again, I miss these things all the time. 3-player as well, also online co-op. It is technically a sequel to 3 other games, hence the number 4, but this is so fleshed out, so well revamped, and given such a modern twist that it's almost unrecognisable to the previous series. I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just absolutely beautiful, this game, and it plays just as good as it looks. I couldn't have asked for a better couch co-op beat 'em up. You've got things like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, you've got stuff like Shing, even the original Golden Axes. This one is just head and shoulders above all of that because of how much love went into this modern version. Streets of Rage 4, you will go down as the best beat 'em up in town. No more rhyming, Coop. I have actually coupled together those other games that I have mentioned. Local couch co-op beat 'em ups are kind of my thing, and I've done a couple of lists on them, link in description. But this one, if you've not started in the genre, go straight to it. It's absolutely amazing. So, Call of Duty Cold War comes in finally, and a game that takes up, what, 126GB on my freaking SSD drive, which barely has enough room on it in the first place, and of course updates drop every 2 seconds because they need to pump a new microtransaction in. But the Outbreak mode, all's forgiven. One of the few games that offers ray tracing on a first-person shooter, which I'm very impressed with. You're seeing a lot of ray tracing being locked or taken out of some PlayStation 5 games at the moment. We'll get into that another time. But it is a flagship zombie shooter. It came very high on my new top zombie list, and it's got everything to enjoy with 2 people on the couch. It unlocks all the content when you go offline, which I think is a genius idea. The Outbreak mode, if you don't know now you know, is basically running around in a huge map with loads of little mini objectives, a main objective, and the maps re-roll and switch out every time you start the game up basically. And there's been a new one. This is footage of the zoo. It's got no animals in it whatsoever, empty cages, all that, but it's still fun. I think it's based in Russia. There's missiles and massive trucks, and of course vehicle management. It's not the only shooter on this list, and I don't really get involved with the other modes on the Call of Duty games. That's the weirdest thing I know, but they're so massive on the download front, and I'm such a big fan of Zombies mode that I haven't really got round to looking at those other running around in circles on the newer maps, because there's some smaller newer maps that aren't in Outbreak, so please forgive. I know I moan about the constant updates and the bullshit content that's paid and pushed in front of you, but they do quite a good job on giving you free stuff and cool skins and an incentive to keep playing the game as a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. Let's get in there. On me.
Holy mama, sweet baby Jesus and the orphans. Gears 5's here. It just quite literally smashes the door in on the split screen scene and says, yeah, what, you want 4K and blasted 30 peg frames per second, doesn't hold back, doesn't care, beautiful game, beautiful enemies, and just dissipation and chaos everywhere.
All right, people, here comes the MVP.
Full-blown campaign in co-op mode is so important. Things are getting really close now. We're at the pinnacle of a couch co-op split-screen experience. The campaign in this game is amazing. What it does lack is some of the other content is shielded away from you if you want to play on a split-screen level. Now, this is only targeted to the PC version of the game, which is a little bit cheeky, but that campaign with 2 people, the differences in environments and maps that you see, all that traversal and all of those unlocks and amazing characters you meet, to have that with the mate next to you is priceless.
There's just one left, Delta.
When we first fired it up, so I moved it over to the TV so it's easier for both of us to sit. It was being weird, like I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, it wasn't running badly, but something was amiss. And I nipped into the settings and it had defaulted to 5K. It had put itself on that ratio because this game is so confident with its aspects that it will go all day long on the top settings and look and listen to it. It's a triumph, a technical triumph, this on a split screen level. I've never been that thrown back by how detailed all of the imagery is and how much it keeps on board when you start splitting those screens. I'm a big fan of the single player of this game, and not much is taken away from you on a visual level when you split that screen. What an industry leader. Accessibility is a little bit steep. This is not for the entire family, obviously, but if you're a gamer like me and you've got like a housemate or a brother and you want that mass amount of depth to experience and that intensity and cool difficulty, and also be able to pump stuff into your character and their weapons and different armor types, there's so much to enjoy with 2 people here that this game is such a no-brainer because it's on Game Pass, meaning you can try it for a handful of pounds a month. And therein lies the catch. You need to own a Microsoft machine, an Xbox, something like that, to even experience this game. And that's why I have to do a list that's cross-platform, because you just can't have a local couch co-op gaming list without Gears 5 on it. So alarm bells are ringing. Yeah, it's Borderlands 3. We are at number 1, by the way, guys. And a little story to tell you all about what happened with me and the split screen version of this game. We had a staggered edition of the vertical split. Let's do that. First of all, is that this first person shooter was only horizontal only for a while, which was devastating. Second, when I fired it up after the patch to give us that vertical, you're going to love this. I went to go for my infantry and it's not there, it's not anywhere. It's not even remotely there. The other player's infantry is on screen. Now, if you know Borderlands, you know that it basically revolves around infantry and you're in and out there every 2 seconds. Anyways, you need to have it on the performance mode, not the quality mode. The aspect ratio pushes out your infantry so you can't even see it on that mode. Randy, sort that one out. So this game's gone from not even making it onto the list because their infantry system may have been broken. You can imagine my meltdown when I'm doing the review, to it being top on the list because it's just a little glitch that they've got on the aspect issue, which they'll probably patch, and hopefully this video might flag some of that up. But what a game. Having it on the 5 with that vertical split and that infantry glitch with the hang sorted out, and of course putting it on the right resolution so that you can see your damn infantry, is the promised land for Borderlands 3. We're finally here. It's smooth and beautiful and so in depth with somebody else. Borderlands as a series has always given us split screeners a really good deal, and we've just got the deal we were waiting for with the PlayStation 5 and of course fixing some of those bugs.
Looks like Ellie got you within the city limits. Go find whoever made that distress call.
Yes, to the bloodletting!
It's nice to have it up here. Borderlands 2 won the original version of the list. Can you believe that? There was 20 games on that list, and that was 3.5 years ago. So it's great to see this series back on top and doing what it should. Of course, have been Couch Coop, and if you're new to me or the channel, I'm going to stick a whole load of links into my older videos. I also do a series which is called 5 more PS4 Couch Co-op and PS5 games. So everything's happening over on the channel on a split screen level. As I'm speaking to you, in the corner of my eye, I can see that TalkTalk are helping me download the new No Man's Sky Frontier 6GB patch, so that'll be ready in about 16 months. Guys, I'll see you down there.